Hi everyone, this is Stuart Sherman, CEO of SM Marketing International and Alpha SEO. We've been doing search optimization for about 20 years. The goal of this lesson is to get you very comfortable sitting in front of your client, looking at their website, and on the spot being able to determine what level of SEO they've had, if any, becoming a product knowledge expert in their eyes, gaining their trust, and much more easily being able to get the sale. I'll start the video by showing you where on Google's homepage the client's website will land when SEO is done properly. And then I'm just going to jump into some live websites. I'll show you exactly what I look at, exactly what I would say to a client, and we'll take it from there. So this is the Google home screen, and I live in the Washington, D.C. area, so I'm going to do a search here. We'll see what the Google homepage pulls up, and we'll do an evaluation of it. So what I'm doing is pulling in a search for an interior designer in Washington, D.C. Now, the first thing I look at is how competitive the search is. How many pages is Google actually pulling in? You can see in less than half a second, it pulled in 269 million pages. That's incredible that it does that. But what that also means is how competitive it is. Now, if we got off the geo of Washington, D.C., you'd see that number rise. Now, you see the difference between a local search and a national search. Now we're looking at 6 billion results. So in order to crack the top 10, what you're really going to have to do is compete with some of the biggest people in the country. But for this purpose of this demo, we're just looking at Washington, D.C. and evaluating the page. Okay, so in the D.C. area, the way the Google layout is this portion of the page right here is the GMB local maps area. SEO work helps local URLs get involved and in this section of the website. And by doing the GMB, the NAP listings, the name, address, phone number, filling out all that Google wants, it helps you get in this. When you click in this area, you actually see a list of the businesses with a map. You see the reviews, some data points. So this is a great area to be in, and it's competitive, and SEO helps move a basic URL, a basic website into this area. Above it, you'll typically see some pay-per-click results. They'll say ad next to them. When I did this result, it didn't pull those in, but that's what you'll typically see. And as you scroll down the page, you see all the organic listings. This is what we're fighting for SEO. This portion of the page and the maps listings. So you see the top listings that come up. And as opposed to pay-per-click, these listings will stay there. The day you stop paying for PPC ads, they go away. So you're really fighting it out in this area, but with some big companies, Yelp, Houzz, this list is strong. What also is interesting in Google is at the bottom of the homepage, they tend to show you some other related searches, so that gives you some SEO keyword options that people are targeting. So let's dig in now. If we go back a couple pages, let's go back a few pages and look at a website. Okay, let's look at this. It looks like they've done some SEO, and we'll take a look at their website live and see what's going on. Okay, so the first thing when you look at a website, this is Daryl Carter. I don't know who this is, but they're not on the first page, so let's try to figure out why just by looking at the website without doing a full diagnostic audit, which we'll do in another lesson. So I can see this page is a little light on content, clearly. So Google would recommend and I would recommend somewhere between at least 250, 500 words of content on the page. And this is clearly a little bit light. It looks nice. They have some internal pages you can see from here. And they do have, it's very small, mind you. Try to size that up. They do have some content here, but it's definitely hard to see and hard to pick up. So let's go back to their homepage. When you hover over the tab, you'll see their title. It's the very first thing that Google pulls up. So in this instance, it appears to be the company name, and they have some keywords. So someone's optimized this to some degree. By right-clicking on the screen and going to View Page Source, let me bump this up a little bit again, you can see some of the code on the page. And if you do a search for their title, you'll see this is what they've written. So Daryl Carter, interior, furniture, lighting. So someone filled out their title, You know they're working with interiors and things like that in this design world. It's an okay title. It appears they have a Squarespace site. You can see that here as well. But they didn't really fill it out well. So I would say some SEO has been done on this site. Someone filled it out, probably with what Squarespace has, but they haven't done a deep dive to do full SEO, which is one of the reasons. If you look at the description, they filled this out, and this is helping them. So at least they've written here, Daryl Carter's an internationally known interior decorator, furniture designer, lighting designer, author, etc. in Washington, D.C. So this Google's pulling, their search engine is pulling in this kind of information from the site. And because of that, it's determined it's valuable to readers. So what else do I look at? I'm doing another find. I'm looking for their H tags. These are header tags. So do they have header tags? And if they do, is anything written in them? So they don't. Typically, you'll see these H tags bigger on the page. They're usually bolded material, and they often have words in them that, if you've done SEO, are more search friendly. So on this Daryl Carter site, this is something that immediately I know that they should be taking advantage of. So again, we're just looking at their homepage. In 2 seconds of eyeballing this site, whether you're sitting with a client or you're at home, I would say that number one, they need some content. And even if their argument would be that it doesn't look good and they're more of a designer, I would say there's definitely ways of adding in a paragraph of content that looks structured nicely, that isn't too keyword dense, that's written very normally and is informative. And really that's what Google wants. They want, their ideal result would be a newspaper, but we're not going to do that because this is a designer site. So they would want some relevant information that's helpful to the searcher, explains a bit about the site, and we would put in some keywords, some geographies. We would probably add some level of geography-based pages, and that would definitely clue the search engine in that this is a valuable site in that area. Also, we can see that there's no header tags clearly visible on the page, and the title is done at a very average level, in my opinion, and it's pretty limited. So those things aside are, by themselves are limiting this page from ranking a little bit higher. We know from deeper SEO knowledge, they probably have link building and other things going on which are helping them rank, but as far as getting on the first page, that's going to be difficult. So let's go back to the original search and we'll pull up the first page again and compare and contrast it to the number one ranking site. Okay, so as you can see, and again, let me make sure that this is big enough for everybody.
I don't have an answer for that. Is there something?
Yep, that's my watch going off. So as you can see, the very first listing is Zoe Feldman. You can see she's number one in the GMB sections, which is great. You can also see her organic listing is number one on top. So she's dominating this area, so we can figure out why. Immediately upon looking at this, I can see that the title it's pulling in is strong. Interior designer, Washington, D.C. It's not just single words that aren't related to the full search. So let's click on the site and see what comes up. Okay, so she has a very well-designed site. Initially scrolling down, you can see there's content on it. You can see these are probably H tags. They relate to the areas they're trying to rank. You can see there's keywords in some of the content. You can see that it's well designed. So immediately I can tell that they've thought that through. Again, when I hover over the tab and look at the title, I can see keywords, I can see geographies. I'm going to do a right click again, view page source. And now let's do the same thing. Let's search for the title. Okay. So let me make this bigger to make sure everyone can see. Okay, so her title is deeper, right? Interior design, Washington, D.C., Bethesda, Alexandria, her name. So that's a nice deep title with some keywords in it. If we scroll down more and look at the description area, you can see same kind as the last website, full written sentences, good for the SERPs to pick up, talks about being an interior design firm, it's written well, blending color, function detail, phone number. So it's very well done. You can see they have, let's look at some H tags. Okay, so here's their first header tag, experienced interior decorator, and it has some geographies in it. They probably even go deeper and have, let's see, they have another tag in H2 even. So they're really working it, and you can see why it's doing well. So not only do they have content, but they have a nice title, good descriptions, good H tags. And if you go back to the site, that's apparent even from looking at the site. If we were to go deeper and look at the different sections, we may do that in another lesson, it would be the type of thing where you could look at their site map and how many pages they have and how many different content pieces they have. But at this point, we're just trying to do a 2-minute eyeball look of a website and determine why is this site doing well and getting on the first page of Google, as opposed to the second, third, fifth, or 10th page. And when you compare the two sites, it's clear that simply by sitting with a client and explaining to them where they're missing some opportunities in addressing their titles, tags, and content is limiting them. And with SEO, in conjunction with all the off-page work that's necessary to actually get ranked on the first page, those things alone will determine whether you're going to have an opportunity to get there or not. And you're going to become a product knowledge expert, an SEO expert, sitting with a client, showing them these things on the screen in front of them, and you'll earn their trust, and you'll have a much higher probability of earning their business. Okay, so that is a very basic, quick run through of what I would do in 2 minutes, sitting in front of a client. And in another lesson, we'll take a deep dive of what is a computerized SEO audit breakdown. It will look at things such as whether it's mobile friendly, its links, its competitive nature, and things of that sort in a more diagnostic view. And putting those two things together will really give you the best opportunity to educate a client and feel more comfortable sitting with them and earning their business. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. I enjoyed putting it together for you. At this point, you should feel more comfortable sitting in front of any client, looking at their website, seeing the pros and cons, becoming a product knowledge expert in their eyes, and getting their business. We look forward to putting more lessons together for you and earning your business at Alpha SEO. Thanks a lot. Bye.